We want to recognize that it indicates clear impacts to wetlands and impacts to threatened species such as gopher tortoise. I've walked the area and seen for myself that there would be environmental impacts. And the only supposed improvement that it mentions is, travel miles and transportation pollutants, that this road would reduce those, which I think is questionable. And if our solution to transportation pollutants is building more roads and expanding roads, and I would say we're looking at things in a backwards way. More roads are not good for the environment. This road itself is a portion of a larger plan, which was indicated by the Jupiter official who spoke, noting specifically the Scripps-Brigger project, which itself does not have construction permits to move forward, and that needs to be viewed in a cumulative way. And I think this development of the road and the associated project would trigger NEPA, and under that would be a clear violation of the Environmental Justice Act. For example, in this application for a PUD from Jupiter, the neighborhood of Limestone Creek is not even mentioned once by name. You think a neighborhood that documents well over 100 years of history would at least get noted once in an application for the development. So, we will organize and protest against this road and this development as we have against the Scripps-Brigger project. And I hope that you all vote no today and save yourself the trouble that you've gone through in the past.
Clearly, people who live in that community can say it much better than me, but I support their concerns. I think this brings up an important question for all county residents as to how much say does a tax-paying citizen resident who lives in an established neighborhood, how much say do they really have over future development that impacts their quality of life? The lawyer, Brian Joslin, mentioned the comprehensive plan and is encouraging you to view this as simply a road relocation that fits. They could check off every box on the comprehensive plan. I would offer that that is a horrible interpretation of our county comprehensive plan. The fundamental interest of the comprehensive plan is to protect the quality of life of the residents in this county, especially in existing neighborhoods. It is not simply a blueprint to allow new development, that a developer and their lawyer can come through and figure out how they meet the comprehensive plan and then pressure you on that idea that you should just automatically pass their development. That is just inherently not true of the concept and the intent of comprehensive plans. Part of the comprehensive plan, it says clearly in your documents, I know they're huge, but if you read them, that your intention is to protect the existing quality life of residents. This project will damage the quality of life of the residents in the adjacent neighborhood. The council member from Jupiter mentioned this. He put it in the context of the fact that this is a bigger project. And we've heard other people speak to that. Developers like to segment things so that it's not, don't think about the bigger picture and the bigger impact. It's just simply a road location you're dealing with today. That's just not true. We know this isn't just a road alignment. This is a road alignment to fuel development that'll have massive impacts on this neighborhood. So I think it's really generous that the neighborhood is simply asking that the road not go through their neighborhood. They're not even contesting the bigger development it's going to feed. They're just saying, can you direct it around our neighborhood? I think that's a pretty simple and basic request that they're asking for you all. Clearly this is environmental racism, and as a white person and as a majority white commission, it's up to you to really deeply analyze that. And what does it mean when a white community adjacent to this black community has the power and influence to not have the road go through their neighborhood? And what does that say about our process and our responsibility to every member of this county, that they have equal access to all of you as elected officials, and that the impacts on them are given the same value as the impacts on their white neighbors? So I encourage you to reject this proposal, to honor the concerns of the neighborhood, and to look at the other options presented. Thank you.
I'm here today as president of the West Palm Beach branch of the NAACP, and I want to reiterate what I mentioned a couple of meetings ago, that equity should really be the new driving force for our growth model today. And your decision here today really is about the health, safety, and welfare of your local citizens first. I was fortunate enough to attend one of the meetings with the developers' representatives, and that was held just last week. So I do want to commend the community for responding to your request and doing everything that they can to see what could be hammered out. I want to get back to the request that's on the table that was forwarded to the developer. The communities basically said no unless these things are addressed, that we're made whole, there are no environmental or safety risks. This is a $350 million development project. This came from the developer himself, as noted in the Palm Beach Post. What the community has asked for, with a park in another location, with a traffic signal, with the Community Facilities Fund to acquire and rehab a local community facility for tutorial programs, and the educational fund, so that young people from their community can be on track to get jobs in the future in the biotech, biomedical industry. And I think that's a very reasonable request, and the community did a yeoman's job of putting that in writing in the form of an agreement and presenting it to the developer. The developer said no. So now it's time for you to render your decision.